1. KenCast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another KenCast. I'm so glad you could join us today. Normally, I try to do KenCast on a Saturday. It's Sunday, so I hope you're having a great Sunday. My cute little dog, Luigi, had a little bit of an eye injury, so I had to take care of him, and that's why we didn't have one yesterday. But I'm happy that you're all here today. Thank you for joining us. We're going to have a discussion. This will be about you and your concerns and maybe some news coming out. We're going to try and look at some more analysis of the Cobra Kai season 6 renewal, what's on Netflix was doing. We'll take a look at that. And then, of course, Terry Silver. We want to make sure we save Silver going forward. So we'll talk a lot about that as well. But it is wonderful to see you all. Mario, great to see you. Nerd World, thanks for joining. Jennifer Sprague, and good first time joining. Thank you. Thanks for joining us. Lisa Barrett, thank you, Lisa. You are a channel member. Thank you for supporting the channel. Really appreciate that. And I'm doing great. My dog's doing wonderfully today. And yeah, it's been a great Sunday so far, and I hope it has been for you too. I'm looking forward to sharing part of it with you today as well. Hey, Mario, good to see you. Frank, thank you for joining us. Thanks for joining us. Arkansas Dave, hi, first time joining. Great to have you. Great to have you. Yeah, let me know where you're from. Today, I want to really open this up to comments. So if you guys have thoughts, things you want to talk about, we can do that. I'll have some things I'll go over, but then, you know, the sky's the limit. We can talk about Cobra Kai, Karate Kid, movies in general, anything you'd like to talk about today. So, oh, thank you, Jennifer. I appreciate it. Chris Klotz, hello from Maryland, the East Coast. Great to see you again, Chris. Chris is a channel member. Thanks for supporting the channel. And then Robana, wonderful to have you back, Robana. Also a channel member. Thank you for supporting the channel. Bryce Productions, Ken Cole. If Jonathan and William return to Cobra Kai as their characters Snake and Dennis, you have to do an interview with Sean, Jonathan, and William all in the same interview. That would be absolutely incredible. I don't know if anyone here has seen my interview I did with Sensei William Christopher Ford, and he talked a bit about the making of Karate Kid 3, and he said that Jonathan Alvidson, who played Snake in Karate Kid 3, is actually really hard to find right now. He's off doing his own thing. So if he comes back and he is willing to do an interview with both Sean Kanan and William Christopher Ford, I think that would be absolutely amazing. That would be just probably a once in 1,000-year event, and I would be honored to have that here. So I would definitely love to do that. Nerd World says hello from Germany. Thank you for watching. Great to have you here from Germany. Josh says, hey, can I learn English with Ken Cole? Absolutely. Hey, if we can do anything to help you learn English, which is the language of Terry Silver, we're happy to do that. William Sprague says, save Silver. Yes, save Silver, guys. It's been a horrible injustice. He's been sent to jail when other people have committed crimes. So if you guys have seen my previous videos, you know, we've talked a lot about the crimes that other people commit. And really, Terry hasn't committed crimes that should send him to prison. So this is a huge injustice. And if we all band together and support him, hopefully we can get him released. I'll be actually taking a cross-country trip coming up, which might include Washington, D.C., where I'm going to have to try to talk to leaders of this country to shine a light on this injustice. So subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell, and I will keep you up to date on my adventures. AEH, wonderful to see you. Hello. Frank, joining from Northwest Indiana. Great, the heartland. Thank you for joining us today. Josh says hi from Spain. Wonderful. I actually I've been to Spain a couple times. Beautiful, beautiful country. Hello, MOTU Thunder. Great to have you. Arkansas Dave says, I'm on episode 2. How cool was it when Robbie helped his dad against those surfer punks? Yes. And honestly, I really have to say, I loved episode 2. Mole. Wonderful, wonderful episode, great writing, and some of my absolute favorite scenes with Thomas Ian Griffith and Terry Silver. I absolutely love that episode, and there's so much that's great in it, and I love that father-son bonding between Johnny and Robbie. Very wonderfully played by William Zabka and Tanner Buchanan. Very, very cool. Lots of great stuff. AEH says save Silver. Yes, I totally agree. Arkansas Dave, Chosen joins Cobra Kai. What a plan. Absolutely. Robana, Western Canada. Wonderful, Robana. Thanks for joining us from Western Canada. Hope all the weather's great up there. Relectify Streams, good afternoon, Ken. Oh, good afternoon to you too. Eliza, Free Silver 2022. 100% support, 100% agreement. Bryce Production says Jonathan is the son of the director who made the first 3 Karate Kid movies. So do you think he's the son he could be contacted to be in Cobra Kai? I think so. I think they would. I think the question is, can they find him? Because according to William Sensei, William Christopher Ford, who we've had on a couple of times, he's kind of hard to find right now. He's off doing his own thing. No one can really locate him. So we hope that he chooses to come back and maybe could appear as Snake or have something to do with the future of the Cobra Kai series, which I know all of us fans of Karate Kid 3 would absolutely love. Nerd World, thank you. Yes, free Terry Silver. I love it. Tammy asks, who's your favorite in Cobra Kai besides Terry Silver? Oh, wow. That's really tough. You know, I always loved William Zabka as Johnny. Obviously a huge fan since the early Karate Kid days. And I think he just does a phenomenal job in that series. You know, he takes that character and, you know, it's a little different than what we saw in Karate Kid 1. And he just brings all these great qualities together and gives him that sympathetic core, but he's also just hilarious. So Johnny's wonderful. Miguel's great. I love Sholo. He does such a great job, and Miguel is such a character. I think no matter, even if he like turns bad, you always want to kind of root for him. And but so many great actors, so many great characters. It's really tough. So those are just some off the top of my head. Marianella, great to see you. Save Silver, free Terry Silver. Yes, 100%. Thank you guys. I appreciate all your support for Terry Silver. We'll get him out one way or another. Bobby Brown should join Eagle Fang. Thank you, Ultimate S, for the comment. Yeah, I would love to see Bobby Brown come back. Obviously, he was such a great character in the original Karate Kid, and such a great character when he appeared. Sensei Ron Thomas plays Bobby Brown, and I just love both of his appearances in the Cobra Kai series, and I hope we get the chance to see him again someday. And I'd love for him to join Eagle Fang and help out. You know, if they are going to take over the world and take down Cobra Kai, I'd love for Bobby to be part of that. Let's see. Oh, here's a question. The One Who Knocks says, I think Kim Da-eun will help Kreese hide from the police. Yeah, that's really interesting what they did in season 5. We had those wonderful flashbacks to John Kreese and Terry Silver training with Sensei Kim Sun-young, and we saw a very young Sensei, well, not at the time, Kim Da-eun, and she seemed to have a bit of a relationship. You saw Kreese kind of wink at her, and you know, that was really just a great small moment that would set up a connection between the two characters. And Sensei Kim Da-eun might have more allegiance, more loyalty. She might like John Kreese even more than she liked Terry Silver. So that would be very interesting to see what happens between those two and what they might do together. Because the one thing, though, is that obviously Kreese is a fugitive. So, you know, what can he do? Can he get out of his situation? Maybe the court will know that he did not beat up Stingray. So I don't know if that makes a difference, but we need to get our legal experts back sometime and talk about what's going on with Kreese. Is he in trouble forever because he is a fugitive, because he escaped from prison? Even if he was wrongfully imprisoned, is he just in legal trouble for the rest of his life? I don't know. Robana says the weather in Western Canada is great. It's a very warm fall this year. That's great. Wonderful to hear. Marianella, thank you for supporting Save Silver from Argentina. It doesn't matter where in the world you are. I'm sure we can all pull strings to get Terry Silver out of prison. So thank you very much for your support. Josh, I think one character of Karate Kid 1 still appears, Dutch. Yes. So Chad McQueen, his family has posted that he will not be joining the Cobra Kai series. I don't know if that's an absolute final decision, but so many people want Chad McQueen to come back. They want Dutch to make an appearance, and that would be amazing. I would be 100% for it. And if he ever changes his mind, I am sure John, Josh, and Hayden would make room for Dutch somehow and give him a great role in the Cobra Kai series. I certainly hope that happens. That would be great. Who's my least favorite character? Oh my gosh, I don't. That it's really tough. I don't know about regular characters. I don't dislike any of the regular characters at all. Maybe off the top of my head, my least favorite character in the entire series, just a small role, might be the Olive Garden waiter. I don't, but it's really tough to say. There's so many great characters and so many great performances. That's what makes a series so great. So I'd have to think about that a bit more. But that's a wonderful question. Thank you, Ultimate S. Frank says the way they brought Jessica into season 5 is awesome. Makes me appreciate her character from Karate Kid 3 a whole lot more. I can't tell you how amazing it was to see Jessica Andrews back. Robin Lively playing Jessica Andrews in season 5. Obviously, way back in the day, Robin Lively it seemed like she was in everything from like the Not Quite Human movies, Teen Witch, Karate Kid 3. She was in Twin Peaks. She was all over the place. And that was just such a great, I think, role. And it's interesting listening to her interviews about the role of Jessica Andrews. And, it went through changes and rewrites. And, it was a little bit different. The role was supposed to be a love interest for Daniel, but it might be that Ralph Macchio thought the age difference was a bit too big between him and her. So they changed it where they were just friends in Karate Kid 3. But I love how she is actually family. The Jessica Andrews actually kind of hooked Daniel up with her cousin, Amanda, and those scenes between them are fantastic. And also the bar fight. It's fun to watch the bar fight, but Elizabeth Ann Rooney actually showing up in Cobra Kai, I think, is the ultimate callback. I never in 1,000 years would have thought we would have seen Elizabeth Ann Rooney in again anywhere or at all. So it's just a very distinct name from Karate Kid 3. So anyway, I love that. I think you're right. Jennifer says, I think Mike might join Miyagi Fang as a possible sensei. Maybe he will step in and cover for Johnny when he has a baby. I still don't know his backstory. They have to give him more in season 6. Right. And I agree. And I've, as a huge, Sean Kanan and Mike Barnes fan, of course, I want way more Mike Barnes. And I hope that, if they bring him back in season 6 and beyond, and we'll talk about season 6 today, and the possibilities of renewal, and we'll get your thoughts on that too. I hope they really give Mike Barnes a bigger part. Strife the Warrior was on here, and he was talking about how maybe Sean Kanan had a rotator cuff injury that prevented him from being in more of season 5. So hopefully everyone is healthy and they can give Sean Kanan and Mike Barnes a really sizable role in season 6 and beyond. I would love to see that for the character of Mike Barnes, 100%. Arkansas Dave, did you know Sam is from my state? And I assume your state is Arkansas. I did not know that. And I think you're talking about Mary Mauser, the actress who plays Sam, which is great. I lived and worked in Oklahoma. I did lots of storm chasing documentaries. I've driven through Arkansas a number of times. Beautiful state. So that's fantastic. Aaron, I think I'm pronouncing it right. Hello, my 2 favorites are Johnny and Miguel. Yeah, great. Wonderful characters and great together. And really, I think kind of the heart of the show, even from the very first episodes of Cobra Kai. Wonderful, wonderful characters. Jesse Co-Fan says, I'm not saying you should stop the free silver campaign, but if he does get free, what will it mean for everyone else? Johnny, Daniel, the kids, heck, even Crease and everyone else. It's a really good question. I don't know, because Terry, he has his goal. I think it would be a question of how does he best think he can achieve his goal. I think he wants to take Cobra Kai global, and I'm sure he would want control of that back. So what would Terry do to get control back? Obviously, if people are suspicious of him, if his reputation has gone down a bit, he may work on trying to repair that. In order to repair that, he may not resort to physical violence. So it might not be a dangerous situation for everyone else. Maybe Terry will decide that the best revenge is winning and taking things over. So I'm sure he'd use his money, his powers of persuasion to try and get back what he had worked towards. But who knows? Maybe if he's pushed to the limit, then he might resort to, physical threats and threatening people who were once allies. I'm not sure. It's great to think about. I love that idea of thinking about that, because Terry would then be out of prison, which we need to make happen. And I certainly hope he's not in prison for a season or anything like that, because he should be out. He shouldn't be charged with anything. Nothing can stick. We've gone through this in previous videos, and he would have the money and the lawyers and maybe the connections in the DA's office to be able to get out of prison quickly. So hopefully this is something that we'll see going forward. Jennifer says, I agree. I think Kim will help Crease for sure. Yes. Okay. And then Richard says, okay, who really burned down the furniture store? Well, that's a great question, because I'm not convinced it was arson. It was kind of suspicious. We had Mike Barnes leave the area while the insurance adjusters were doing their thing, which we had Cobra Kai Wisdom, who's an actual lawyer, on here talking about it. And he said that that's kind of suspicious. You don't want to be leaving town while insurance adjusters are inspecting things, because you want to help them and give them information. So that's kind of strange. And then also we saw that Chosen took out a lot of the staff. Maybe a lot of them quit. There could have been, I think Drew Rohally, who's a common co-host on the show, he says that the electrical wiring looked bad in the back, but it could be anything. It could have been an accident. It could have been negligence. It didn't necessarily have to be that someone committed arson. So yeah, I don't see a lot of evidence that Terry did that. There's a lot of assumption. The one who thinks that Terry did it is Daniel. If you look at that, there's no evidence that Terry did that. It's just Daniel accuses him. So just remember that. No evidence. And Terry doesn't admit to it. He could have said, yeah, that was me. He didn't. He said, well, that sounds like it was a crime. And then the next crime is you guys coming in here. So he never admits that he did it. I don't know, guys. I think there's another explanation for why that furniture store burned down. Nerd World says, I saw your Terry is not dying video, and I agree with you, but I have my own theory. My theory is that Terry maybe has a surrogate woman who bears his child. Maybe that's why he's in the hospital. You know something? I think that's brilliant. That is another great reason why Terry could be in the hospital. He directly brings up the fact that he never had children, and he's concerned about legacy, and that Cobra Kai is his legacy. I would think he absolutely could pursue that. I mean, wouldn't that be great? And of course, in my video, I suggest that Terry is actually undergoing a life extension treatment where he's going to live much longer due to his wealth and experimental treatments that are happening. But if that's true, then yeah, he would have time to raise kids. He wouldn't be that old necessarily. So I love that idea. I think that's great. It makes perfect sense. So thank you, Nerd World. I appreciate that. Robana says, odds are Bobby Brown will wed Johnny and Carmen since he's a pastor. I love that. It'd be nice to see him back, though, even to make peace with Daniel as well. Yes, and that's something that we haven't seen yet, is a scene between Bobby and Daniel after the first Karate Kid. really, it would be fascinating to get those two together. We also haven't seen a scene between Bobby and Kreese, and they have a lot of history. And I think that would be very interesting to see that and to see how Bobby would handle John Kreese and how that would go down. Because obviously Bobby has grown a bit and he's at peace with who he is and his past. So it'd be interesting to see if he could convince Kreese or counsel Kreese on his behavior. Or I'm sure as a pastor, he runs into a lot of people with mental health issues. And so he might be able to see Kreese for who he is and dealing with those issues, maybe PTSD, his experience in the war, and the reasons why he's the way he is. And it would be very interesting to see Bobby maybe try to counsel Kreese or help him if Kreese were open to it. I don't know if he'd be open to it or not. So thank you for the comment, Robana. That's great. Kid says, I think Silver will be able to get out of prison easily because of his connections and money. 100% agree. I think that's a great comment, Kid. Yes. And we know from Karate Kid 3 that he was in good with the DA's office. There was a DA at the time named Willie Cole. Okay. My name is Ken Cole. I'm not saying I'm related, but the Coles are very, sometimes can be a slippery dynasty. If you know Tom Cole from Cobra Kai, he's Daniel's dealership rival. Notice that's also the same name, Tom Cole, Willie Cole. And we don't know if Willie Cole is still working in the DA's office and if Terry Silver can get those charges dismissed. We don't know, but Terry's the kind of guy with connections. So I think you're right. He could get out of prison probably very quickly. Bryce, Dutch cameo, I'm all on board. I would love to see it. Round Table, the Olive Garden waiter is the end game villain of the series. That would be hilarious. And I think I would love to see that. And it would confirm my feelings from that scene. No, but like that would make me so happy, just kind of basically taking the small character and turning him into like the villain. I would love to see that progression from the Olive Garden waiter to the big bad. The only true person who can take down Terry. I love it. Rabana says Cheyenne and her tofu. LOL. Yes. K. Miley Leonard. Hello, Cobra Kai fans. Kim here. Good to see you, Kim. I think Kim will aid and abet Kreese as he's an escapee. Terry will get out, possibly on bond. Ken, always love your synopsis. Thanks so much, Kim. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I think that seems to be a common comment, is that Kim Da-eun may go and help Kreese, or maybe Kreese finds her and they'll help each other. And who knows, maybe she'll help him get out of the country temporarily until all his legal problems blow over. I mean, that would be, I don't know if they do it, but wouldn't that be incredible if she takes him to South Korea? And part of the story is there going back to like where he learned from Master Kim Sun-young. That would be absolutely fantastic. And Terry, maybe he gets out of prison and goes to pursue John Kreese there, and maybe they have a reunion in South Korea. I don't know. That's probably way too international, but who knows? I mean, it's such a fun idea. The Round Table says, agree, didn't care for Jessica in Karate Kid 3, but her role in Cobra Kai was very meaningful and well done. Yeah, it's interesting because in Karate Kid 3, I think the rewrites kind of dictated that the part of Jessica Andrews was kind of reduced a bit. It wasn't the full part that she was supposed to have. She leaves, before the end, before the climax. And so, yeah, it's a little bit different. It feels like she's kind of in the movie, but not quite in the movie. But Robin Lively did such an amazing job with all those roles back then. And she just was phenomenal in Cobra Kai season 5. Absolutely fantastic. And I'm so glad they brought her back and that she's an integral part of Daniel's family, which is great. That she and Amanda have such a great relationship. Fantastic. Jennifer says they wrote Jessica in well. Absolutely. Well, guys, I love all these great comments, and we'll keep getting to all these comments. I do, however, just want to go over some news. So let's hit some news.
KenCast news.
All right, here we go. All right, so I know a lot of you. Oh, I see Jennifer, thanks for your comment, Jennifer. Have seen this. John Hurwitz tweeted, "Who needs dragons or orcs when you've got warring middle-aged karate senseis?" And he's tweeting this article from Variety that Cobra Kai reaches nearly 2 billion minutes watched, beating out House of the Dragon and Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, which is absolutely fantastic. And there have been a lot of articles and speculation about season 6, when we'd see season 6, if we're seeing season 6. We did a whole KenCast on that, trying to figure that out. And I'll go over some more, I guess you could say, data, and we can sort of decide what we think about that. But regardless, this is a big accomplishment. And I think it speaks to the popularity of the Cobra Kai series. And I know that people have been saying Netflix has been maybe losing subscribers or not putting enough focus in their series, their original series, and their content. And I think this shows that Cobra Kai and the Miyagi-verse is a series that Netflix should really take care of and really cultivate because it does have the power to take down all the kings of the streaming world right now. So that's just my own thoughts. I'll be interested to get yours as well. I'm going to plug some videos if you haven't seen them. There's a video called Cobra Kai versus Star Wars, 7 Lessons Disney Can Learn. So this really gets into the concept of legacy sequels. And Star Wars, obviously the sequel trilogy, were legacy sequels to the original trilogy. Cobra Kai as a series is a legacy sequel to the Karate Kid movies. And I look at Cobra Kai as an example of how to do legacy sequels right. And by looking at Cobra Kai, I come up with 7 lessons that Disney, maybe when they're looking at doing Star Wars content, that they can learn, so that I know some people really love the sequel trilogy, but it was very divisive in terms of the fan base. So how can you make something like Star Wars, which really was for everyone and everyone loved back in the day? How do you make it less divisive and more crowd pleasing? And I think John, Josh, and Hayden with Cobra Kai managed to do that. So I come up with 7 lessons, some advice for Disney. So definitely check that out if you haven't seen it. Those of you who watch my channel may not realize that I do lots of stuff beyond Cobra Kai. I have a short film, Bigfoot and Me, which was just so much fun to do. And it had a great festival run. And we will also be playing in a festival, the Shockfest Film Festival, in December. So online film festivals have popped up recently, and I'm very happy to be part of this festival. In December, if you guys are interested in watching new independent films, I don't know if you've ever thought of doing that, check out attending the virtual screening of Bigfoot and Me, but also to see these other great independent films at Shockfest, which is a genre film festival. It features horror and, you know, all these other types of films. Mine is not a horror. It's more of a comedy, but been very happy to have such a great film festival run for Bigfoot and Me. It's very entertaining. You can watch it on my channel, but also as part of Shockfest coming up in December. So I just wanted to let you guys know about that. It's a lot of fun. So yes, so let's get back to Terry Silver. And I know this video seems to be doing well. It seems to spark strong reaction in people. The idea that some people are absolutely convinced that Terry Silver is dying. And yes, I know that there is some comments maybe made by Thomas and Griffith that at one time they thought about or shot some material about an illness, a serious illness for Terry Silver. But they cut, if that's the case, they did cut it out. And I think there's a reason. Excuse me. Let me grab a drink. And I think the reason is they saw so much potential for Terry Silver that they didn't want anything bad to happen to him. I'm sorry. Hey guys, my throat is going a little crazy. So I'm going to play a Dynatox commercial for you. Here you go.
The pollution crisis facing our planet is nothing new. In 1974, business visionary and war veteran Terrence Silver founded Dynatox. he dedicated his life to fighting the challenges posed by pollution and toxic waste, to preserve the American way of life. Terrence Silver stood up to all enemies of the environment, whether adversaries abroad or corrupt bureaucracy at home. Under the guidance of Terrence Silver, Dynatox became the industry leader, bringing thousands of jobs to Americans and people across the globe. Most of all, Dynatox has given us the gift of clean water, fertile land, and fresh air for generations to come. Dynatox. Paid for by Cole Associates for a Clean America.
Okay, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. Sorry. Had a case of the coughs. I don't know. Hopefully I didn't catch what you accused Terry Silver of catching. I don't know, or some of you. But this has been an interesting video, this idea that Terry Silver is not dying. And I think a lot of people don't want him to die and don't think he's dying as well. So yeah, it's kind of interesting how these things work. Zaround says, why has Dynatox never been mentioned on the show, or did I miss it? No, you're exactly right. We never heard of Dynatox specifically. In a deleted scene, Terry talks about his company going under, but we don't know if that was Dynatox. It's never said. So Dynatox could still be around. Dynatox could have changed names. I just love the idea of Dynatox, and so I kind of hope it's still out there. Josh says, Dynatox TV series, the series we deserve. Totally agree. Yes, I would love to have that. And if any of you have seen Cobra Kai, that is kind of inspired by this idea of a corporate Terry Silver, the CEO version of Terry Silver. And just the fun of seeing him, as CEO, as a business leader, as someone that we would connect to in our normal lives. So, yeah, I would love to see a Dynatox TV series. Let's see. All Things Cobra Kai says, Ken, what are your thoughts on Sam? Okay, let me pull out of this story for a second. Mary Mauser is absolutely fantastic. I had a chance to briefly meet her at the Troubadour concert with Zach and Leo, and they were performing the score of Cobra Kai. She's absolutely fantastic as an actress, and she does, I think, a really good job as Sam. I can understand some people I don't think like the character just because she's, she can be a bit entitled, and they mention the term Encino brats in the series, and I think that's part of her character. That's something that she's trying to struggle to come beyond, to get beyond. At the beginning of season 5, she was on the phone with Miguel when he was in Mexico, and she was kind of accusing him of not caring about her, and then he says, "Why? So you're making this about you again?" And that's kind of, I think that's maybe a part of her character that she still needs to get beyond. But I think she's shown a lot of growth. Looking up to Johnny as well as a teacher. And it's really fascinating, I think, to see her development. And I'd like to see her continue moving forward. I love the scene between her and Tori in season 5, where she got a glimpse of, Tori's life and how she's living. And I think that's something that's beyond her own experience. So hopefully she's coming out of her bubble, and we'll see her growing. And I think when all is said and done, she could be really a great leader, a great person, and poised to have a very successful life. So yeah, I'd say that's what I would say about Sam. Even though we might not like aspects of her personality now, I think she's growing and she's getting through those things. Good to see you, Peter Monasac, early KenCast. Yes, surprise Sunday KenCast. Thank you for joining us, Peter. Everyone go check out the Cobra Kai Companion podcast and Podstalgic. Very, very fun podcast as well. Fare says, what do you think of Hawk? Right. So I love Eli. I love Hawk. I think he's absolutely great. Jacob Bertrand does a fantastic job as Hawk. It's been fun seeing his progression. I like the fact that he's not a full-on bully anymore. You know, he's kind of gotten beyond that. And you know, it's interesting that Terry Silver was able to teach Kenny the silver bullet to take down Eli Hawk. And I think that's you know, maybe some people maybe I saw like maybe Watch Party, you know, was complaining that, you know, the character is not as like dominant as he once was, or as powerful. But remember, guys, it's a long running series. Every character has to have their arcs up and down, and you know, this is part of, I think, Hawk's growth right now, and we'll, I think, see hopefully by the end of the series even more sides to Eli slash Hawk. But I love the character. I love how Jacob plays him 100%. Eliza says watch party stream. Yeah, very cool. It's good to see watch party out there always. We did prop bets, and we'll have to do a either a podcast or live stream to talk about if our bets were correct about season 5. 100%. Aloha Mama says, I just hope Barnes comes back and is a regular. Yeah, I'd love that as well. I mean, Sean Kanan, we can see even from Cobra Kai season 5 just how talented he is. A lot of people who've only seen him as Mike Barnes and as being like terrorizing and brutal, I think maybe we're caught off guard by how well he plays these very genuine, good characters. And yeah, you can see his acting range, and I think the show would only be stronger if Mike Barnes comes back as a regular for season 6 and beyond. Jennifer says, I saw a comment on another page about Hector can come back, and they say it's possible that Miguel never got his backpack when he left all his info in there. You know, that's a really great point. And that was actually one of my bets. One of the things that I thought might happen before I even saw season 5 was that he would go to Mexico, leave Mexico, and that his father would somehow follow him. And I think that's a great point that people brought up, that Miguel may have left his backpack, and that Hector may figure out who Miguel is and come back for him. And that would definitely add, you know, an element of danger. It's interesting. I guess Hector's remarried, but if Carmen just left, were they still technically married? Maybe just in Ecuador. I don't know. So, but Hector might feel like he's still married to Carmen, I guess. I don't know. I'm not sure how that works, but I'm sure Hector would feel like he's angry at her, and maybe obviously is Miguel's father, so that might introduce peril for them both. So let's see. Tammy, good to see you, Tammy. There are not good or bad guys in Cobra Kai. I don't see Silver as a bad guy. Neither do I see LaRusso as a good guy. Right, exactly. And let's extend that to Terry Silver. You know, Terry, you know, I think Daniel is very sure that Terry is a villain. But we've seen all these great qualities of Terry Silver. Look at what he did for Kenny. He made Kenny very powerful. He really wants Cobra Kai to go global. He believes in it. He does whatever he can to make that happen. And he suffered a lot of injustices, people breaking into his house, breaking into his dojo, people trying to make him look bad. So I think Terry's also kind of a gray character that people shouldn't be so quick to dismiss. And so if you've seen my videos, you know that I am doing the Save Silver campaign. I appreciate all you guys who have supported this campaign so far. We are going to take this across the country. We are going to, in fact, I am going to, I'll be going to the East Coast and maybe stopping by Washington, D.C. to see what I can do to save silver. So it's a big campaign. Thank you for joining. Spread the word. Make sure you know that people that, you know, make sure that people know that you support Terry Silver. That's very important because people just assume that Terry Silver is a bad guy. But he's not, as we just saw from Tammy. He's, you know, gray. You know, he's worthy of support. A lot of great qualities. Does not deserve to go to prison. So thank you all for your support. So guys, let's jump into. There's an article that I saw. And this is by what's on Netflix. So let me bring this up. Cobra Kai season 6 Netflix renewal status and what we know so far. This has been a topic of conversation. We've talked about this on the KenCast before, and they actually have harder numbers. So let's dive into this. Let's read through this. Cobra Kai season 5 released onto Netflix in September 2022, and now into October. We're still waiting for an official renewal from Netflix, but what could we expect from a new season, and how well is the show performing so far? Here's everything we know about Cobra Kai season 6. And then they go on. Formerly a YouTube original series, after 2 seasons, Cobra Kai officially moved to Netflix and soared even more in popularity since. The series is a continuation of the Karate Kid movies and takes place 34 years, blah, blah, blah. Okay, let's jump down. Here's the question. Has Cobra Kai been renewed for season 6? Official Netflix renewal status, not yet renewed. Okay. At the time of writing, Netflix has yet to renew Cobra Kai for a 6th season. This is unlike prior seasons where we've always known ahead of time that they're returning. The creators have said numerous times over the years that they had planned for the show to run at least 6 seasons. Speaking to Deadline about the possibility of a 6th season recently, Hayden Schlossberg says, "We have an end in mind. How many seasons it takes to get there, we don't know. We're enjoying making it so much. If it gets tiring to us, we'll stop before that. We'll have a few more seasons already planned out." We have a few more seasons already planned out. Okay. Sounds very promising. John Hurwitz says, "We'd like to do at least 6 seasons of Cobra Kai." And that was back in 2020 that John Hurwitz says that. So they have a plan. And then, okay, so the article continues. "We're currently predicting that the series will be renewed for another season in Netflix, but with the caveat that it may be a final season order. This is simply because of some of the data suggesting the show has peaked in terms of popularity and other factors." Okay, we'll go into their reasoning here. "Using a variety of sources, we can dive into looking exactly at how well the series is doing. For the first time, we can use hourly data provided by Netflix to look at the show's performance. As we covered in our September 14th Top 10 report, which uses CVE metrics, we can see the show lagged behind the 4th season in the report." And I just like to pause for a second, and I want to thank Jennifer Sprague. Thank you so much for the super chat. It helps support the channel, helps us keep the lights on and keep giving you great content. She says, "Keep up the work. Love the channel." Thanks so much, Jennifer. I really appreciate it. Okay, so let's look into the CVE, which I believe is completed views equivalent metrics. That's a metric that they use for streaming shows. So this is what they say. Its 5th season and its launch of 17.1 million CVE lags a little behind the 21.4 million CVE of season 4. But season 4 was released on the 1st of January, so that might explain the difference. People have time off around Christmas. So you guys can see this. This bar here is the top one is Cobra Kai season 4. This was at release, and Cobra Kai season 5 is a bit beyond that. This is the first 3 days of release. And then they continue. This data comes from Netflix's top 10 site. Okay. So here's how the show is breaking down hours-wise so far. So its ranking and its sort of like weekly decline is kind of tracking even, although season 5, as we keep going down in terms of viewership, you can see that season 5 is behind season 4, but the declines are equivalent. And then they also bring up external demand, and we can see diminishing returns over time. So this is Google Trends data. As you can see here, that's 8th of November 2020. There's January of 2022. You can see this peak up here. And then this is the release of season 5. And then if for all you guys watching around the world, you can look at the raw data. You can see the countries where it's getting the most views. The series is getting the most views. So, and then it goes on to talk about Cobra Kai season 6. But so this is something that we kind of alluded to in a prior KenCast, just the fact that season 5 viewership wise is a bit below season 4. And And we talked about all kinds of reasons. I'm interested in why you think that is. And great comment, RFE. Keep in mind, this is coming after Netflix lost subscriptions this year. And I think that's a very important to talk about. Around April this year, they really lost a ton of subscribers, a lot of churn. They're trying to bring that back, bring back those subscribers with a new tier, which is an ad-supported tier. It'll play commercials while you watch your Netflix content. We'll see how that does. But they did lose a lot of subscribers. So lower subscriber base. A lot of people have talked about just the fact that it hasn't been a year. It hasn't even been a year. So it's 2 seasons releasing right on top of each other. They really didn't promote it as hard, season 5, as they did for season 4. It obviously came out at a time when people have a lot of other stuff going on. It's the fall, it's school, there's sports, there's lots of other stuff to watch. It's not like New Year's where people have time off and they can just binge the whole show. And intense competition. You have Lord of the Rings, House of the Dragon, a lot of other big shows, and it still won, So this article says that they think it will be renewed, but it might just be a single season order, like one more season. I don't know. I think that's fair looking at the data, but I'm hoping that Netflix is kind of looking at the release window and all these factors and realizing that Cobra Kai is a very popular show, that it has an intense fan base, and hopefully they'll see that a lot of people who, and I don't know if this is the case, but I'm willing to bet it's the case, started the season, finished the season. And so I'm hoping if it's just one more order for Cobra Kai, that they order seasons 6 and 7 together. So we're at a time when Netflix, I think, doesn't have as many great original series anymore. And so they really need to hold on to these shows that, it's captured the cultural zeitgeist, and I think they need to support these shows, both in terms of production budget and also marketing. And so my hope would be going forward that we at least get 2 more seasons, like they ordered seasons 4 and 5 together. I'm hoping that they would order seasons 6 and 7 together. So that's what I think. Also, please let me know what you think. Huge says Cobra Kai series can go on forever. It just needs to continue and not have such a big time gap between seasons. Right. And, that's another thing. I kind of wish they kept the same slot because it was becoming this annual New Year's tradition for me. I don't know if it was for you too as well, but it's there's enough time where you can start to anticipate the next season. So it's a year between each seasons. We've had that with season 3 and 4. It would be nice to have that with 5. And that would also let the big 3, John, Josh, and Hayden, complete Obliterated, give them a little more time. And who knows, it may have been possible to get season 6 out by, New Year's 2024, which would still be about a year difference. This show has really dealt with a lot of sort of inconsistent releases of seasons. We had such a huge gap between seasons 2 and 3. Even though they had season 3 in the can, they had all of the changing of distribution platforms from YouTube to Netflix. And, we had to wait so long for season 3, and we finally got it. And from everything we know, it looks like it might be a similar wait for season 6. So we might be in for a long gap. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see exactly what's going to happen. Horror Hawk says, I think they should go back to December release. Yes. And also market the next season better. Season 5 had the weakest marketing campaign, and more people are off work for New Year's subscription loss. Right. And I'm hopeful that they understand that. They're looking at the numbers. They know their subscriber base. Maybe that drop in viewership is proportional to their drop in subscriber base. And they understand that there's intense passion for the show. People love it. And they really need to support it with an amazing marketing campaign. And I think those viewers will come. Let's see. Kate, good to see you, Kate. Welcome. Kate, thank you for being a member of the channel, supporting the channel. Maybe if Netflix had given boatloads of money to Z-rate celebrities, they might have had money for a good show promos. I know, it's a mystery, I think, to everyone. Netflix is, they have the numbers, they have the algorithms. They definitely make decisions based on all of that. And from what Josh Heald said at the live event, Netflix Live and Badass, he basically said that the show has a budget that's big enough for people, like a few people sitting in a room talking to each other. And they managed to take that budget and make this series with like action sequences and flashbacks. Like they're able to stretch that money so well to create this series. So it sounds like it's not that expensive of a series to make. So hopefully Netflix is making a lot of money, getting a lot of viewership hours out of a series that's not too expensive. So hopefully they'll renew it for multiple seasons, at least as many seasons as the big three, John, Josh, and Hayden, feel like they have good story for. I don't know. That's just my thought. Ultimate S says Kim Sun-young versus Mr. Miyagi. Who wins and what's your favorite callback moment? Wow. Well, Hayden Schlossberg, a long time ago, he wrote a tweet and he put Kim Sun-young on Miyagi's level. The only other person he put on Miyagi's level is a fighter. So that might be tough to call. I love what I've seen of Kim Sun-young, and it would be very interesting, I think, for Mr. Miyagi to have someone on his level, because he absolutely destroyed everyone he fought in those movies. So, of course, I love Mr. Miyagi. And what's your favorite callback moment? I don't know. There's so many. If it's like a Mr. Miyagi callback moment, I don't know. I love the moment when in season 2 when Daniel comes up on the fisherman on the beach. That was a nice touching moment. I thought very Miyagi-esque. It reminded Daniel of Miyagi. That was really great. Kim Sun-young. That flashback is fantastic. I love the look of him. I love that idea. It raises that whole background to kind of an epic level. I love that. So, and I wanted to see, we had a sticker. I wanted to see who. Oh, NASA. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. I really appreciate the super chat. And Netflix also has to weigh what actors want. Like basically what they want in terms of money. Yeah. And that's true because, you get to season 6 of a series and you have the same actors, they're going to be wanting raises, especially with inflation and everything. But, they've contributed to the success of the show. They're going to be wanting pay increases. So that's going to increase the budget. That's probably what Netflix is trying to figure out. They're trying to negotiate. But I think one way to get around that is to, instead of release the season 6, then renew it for a season 7, maybe getting everyone to agree on a 2-season contract to sort of lock in those costs over 2 seasons. We've seen that done before. Maybe they'll move towards that as well. So I don't know. So that'll be my prediction. And I could be totally wrong. I'm going to predict that Netflix will renew Cobra Kai for a season 6 and a final season 7 with the option to do movies or spinoff series, that type of thing. But I think when it gets renewed, and maybe this is why it's taking so long, they're going to renew it for 2 seasons, 2 more seasons at once. So we'll see. That would be a lot of fun. Fairs, what's your favorite season? Mine is season 4. Oh, season 4 is a great one. I think my favorite is still season 1. I was just so blown away by season 1. The tone just really, to me, even though it was shot very differently, the tone was just so consistent with the original Karate Kid movies. It made me want to see so much more. It was just, there was a lot of room to breathe for the characters. I love season 1. I think it's fantastic. And then I would say season 4 is my second favorite. Absolutely. I love the show though. Obviously you guys know that. Zoran says the actors are not getting any younger. How about letting the characters pass age 18, graduate and be in college, and maybe move away from home and become junior senseis themselves to teach the new students? I think that's a great idea, Zoran. And I think some of the cast and crew have talked about that wouldn't be a bad thing. And I'm kind of wondering, that's why they brought in Anthony and Kenny, as they're building them up as bigger characters, because if the show keeps going on, we might be following their story more if they're more in high school. And then, if the older characters graduate, it might allow the series to kind of refocus in a different way. If actors like Sholo are too expensive, or other actors, of course, are too expensive, then maybe they're more appear in 1 or 2 episodes. I'm not sure, but yeah, I don't think there's anything bad about that at all. Let them go to college. And I bet that's why we didn't see Johnny back in Karate Kid 3 is, the assumption is that they were all seniors and they graduated, and Johnny and the Cobras went off to school someplace else. And why would they still be involved in, the high school karate scene? They wouldn't be at the same college as Daniel necessarily. And but I think it would have been cool if they were still around, and maybe if these characters do go on to college and graduate, that they'll still stick around and be interested in the karate situation in the Valley. Let's see what else. So many great comments, guys. Thank you so much. Nerd World says a lot of people also had early access for seasons 5. Did you have it, Ken? I did not. I did not watch the season ahead of time. And I think for me, and I didn't go ask for it either, because I wanted to be psyched and, with you guys. A lot of the content I do, I think, is talking with you on live streams and just hyping the season and getting excited. And, I think for me, it would be difficult to do that if I already saw this series ahead of everyone. So that's why, for season 5, I didn't pursue it. I didn't get a hold of that, the screeners for season 5 at all. And, other people have brought up the fact that could be another reason why viewership numbers were down, is that there were a lot of leaks. I think they ended up giving screeners out to a lot of different people, and there were lots of leaks ahead of time of what happens in season 5. And I'm wondering if that might be a reason why, people could just go online and read what happens. They might not have been as motivated to go watch the show. I don't know. You'll have to let me know what you guys think about that. But thank you, Nerd World. I appreciate that. Kate says, Cobra Kai is definitely the definition of what happens when you get a chance to live your dream despite not having the full means to support it. Yeah. And, it's really kind of amazing how universal Cobra Kai is. I just love the show. It's like a once in a generation type thing. It's fun. As a filmmaker myself, and someone who just loves movies and TV shows, and loves the Karate Kid movies, it's just a dream come true. And just hats off again to everyone associated with the show. Great. I love this. I love being able to talk about the show and to meet all of you, at least even if it's over the internet. It's been absolutely wonderful. Kim says, I would love for them to do season 6 and 7 too, but if 6 is it, people, including myself, have been so impacted by the series. Yes. For me, growing up when Karate Kid movies came out, memories. Yeah, 100%. 100%. I don't know how many of you are, say, like on the older side or the younger side. I could say if you remember watching the Karate Kid movies when you were a kid versus like who are just coming into this through Cobra Kai. It's really one of those rare things that I think has impacted the young generation and the old generation together. It's amazing how it just hit the right notes with everyone. So that's why you should check out my Star Wars versus Cobra Kai video, to look at the reasons why I think it did that. And it's very rare that they did that. Peter says Miyagi's bedroom was quite breathless. That was very touching, Peter. I totally agree. That moment was so touching. That sacred space that, once you realized what was going on, it was like being in that sacred space, that it really hasn't been touched. Or, you still felt his presence in that room. One of the things I love about the show is how they have kept Pat Morita as Mr. Miyagi present throughout the show. Even though he's no longer with us, he's still a major character in this series. And I love how they've done that. So that's wonderful. Yes. Thank you, Peter. Let's see. So many great comments, guys. What's your favorite season? My favorite season, season 1. I know everyone has a different answer though for what their favorite season is. Ken Cole, do you think the World Tournament will happen in a season 7 instead of a season 6? Oh, well, it's interesting that if it's a World Tournament, it would seem to be the climax. Like, I don't think you could get any bigger than the World Tournament, right? So I would think if they come back for 2 more seasons, I bet that would be a big part of season 7. But obviously, if it's only renewed for season 6, maybe it'll be part of just season 6. It'd be interesting to see what happens with this World Tournament because, obviously the judges will see what Kreese is out of jail. Terry Silver's in prison, or at least temporarily. Honestly, the guys, we love them, but chosen Mike Barnes and Johnny broke into Terry Silver's house, and committed all kinds of crimes. So I don't know, would they kind of withdraw their consideration of the Miyagi Fang and Cobra Kai dojos for now? And that's something that they'll revisit in the future once they get their issues sorted out. That could easily happen. I don't know what the fallout of the finale of season 5 will be, but you would think that the judges wouldn't be happy with all that. Lupo Music, thank you so much for joining us. It's great to see you. Bryce Productions, my favorite season 5. It's very, very epic season 5. John Spangler, thanks for joining us, John. Hey, Ken, I know that you like Terry Silver, but I like John Kreese. But how? Kreese just walks out of the jail like that. I think Terry should be in jail. Yes, he's a villain, like John Kreese. Right. Well, they have a very interesting relationship. I think they're actually very powerful together. And that's something that maybe they don't realize. Maybe Kreese realized it a bit, but Terry doesn't quite realize. I know he thinks of John Kreese as his weakness, but I think the two of them together are very powerful, and they've done powerful things in the past in Vietnam. I don't know if it's possible for them to reconcile at this point. Maybe Terry will have a change of heart and offer to help John with his legal problems and try to make it up to him. For some reason, it would be interesting if they worked together again. I don't know if that's possible, but I think together they're quite powerful. And I hope they all realize that going forward. That's just my thoughts. Let's see. I would never put Kim in the same category as Mr. Miyagi. However, she and Sato are in the same league, right? And we kind of don't know how Sensei Kim Da-eun, how accomplished she is compared to Sensei Kim Sun-young. We know, according to Hayden Schlossberg, that Sensei Kim Sun-young fighting level is on Miyagi's level, but we don't know about Sensei Kim Da-eun. It might be that she's still a bit young. Maybe she has decades to go before she's considered to be a master, but she's, she's a powerful force. I really want to see a lot more from Sensei Kim in future seasons. Let's see, Kim says spinoff sounds good. Yes, 100%. I hear rumors that there are ideas for spinoffs and everything, and I would love for them to do spinoffs. I know people have talked about they'd love to see a young Mr. Miyagi series or a young Terry Silver and John Kreese series, and I'd be all about that. And even if they wanted to follow one of these side character, I don't know if they could do a Dimitri series. Obviously, I love Gianni DiCenzo and stuff like that, but Terry Silver would be fantastic. That's why I don't want Terry Silver to die, because before season 4, therapeutically, I wrote my own outline for a Terry Silver series. There's just so much you can do with just that character, and you have to think there's so many options. Even if it's not a series, maybe it's a film, or it's a mini series, limited series. But there's so many options with all these great characters. Let's see. Josh says, do you think the name of star student of Terry Silver, Ken, is for you? Oh man, I have no clue. I mean, if that's the case, that's that's very flattering. I will say something. It was so fun just being like my name being Ken or Kenny, having Terry Silver say his famous Kenny, Kenny, Kenny. I just think as a fan, as a longtime fan, it was fun having my name spoken by Terry Silver. Even if it had nothing to do with me, it was just it was fun, you know, very fun. So thank you. I'm flattered you would even think that. That's a lot of fun. Lupo Music says we often talk about a Kreese and Silver in Korea spinoff. That'd be awesome. But since we had this flashback in season 5, I've been thinking of Captain Turner. Was that his name? Yes, training during the Korean War. Yeah, you know, we don't know much about Captain Turner. Obviously, he was a bit unlikable in terms of, you know, what he did to John Kreese. I think we were kind of upset about what he did to John Kreese. It'd be interesting to see how well he did. Obviously, he probably didn't do too well with Sensei Kim Sun-young because he lost to John Kreese. So, or at least that's my guess, is he probably wasn't one of the top students of Master Kim Sun-young. It might be interesting to see him as a young person. I don't know. Maybe we'll get allusions to these characters going forward. Interesting thought, Lupo Music. Sasha David, why no Bobby Daniel or Bobby Kreese seen so far? Are they keeping that for a spinoff? There are so many interesting character interactions, I think, that you could have with the old Cobras beyond Johnny. I thought it was also interesting how in the season 2 episode, you know, Take a Right, where you had the OG Cobras, and after Tommy died, we never really saw Johnny talk to Kreese about that or even tell Kreese. Like Miguel knew, but Kreese didn't seem to know or care. And it's just interesting that Johnny kept that from him. And really all those old Cobras have been kind of shielded from Kreese. They haven't had any interactions with Kreese, and they haven't with Daniel either. Because those are some other people that could really, I think, befriend Daniel, make his position stronger, help with his students. I mean, look at all these senseis you could possibly have, all this experience. So I hope Bobby Brown comes back. It would be amazing somehow if Chad McQueen and Dutch were to come back, obviously. And I don't know whose side Dutch would be on, but, you know, I know we shouldn't hold our breath, but, you know, anything is possible. You never know. People could change their minds. NASA, thank you so much, NASA Canes fan. Really appreciate it. Thanks for the super chat, the support. The question of the legal matters for Carmen and Hector is a good Badway question. I agree. We need to get Badway back so he can help answer these legal questions of what happens if Carmen was married to Hector in Ecuador and left. And what legal claims does Hector have left? I don't know. You know, Hector's apparently moved on, but he may claim some kind of ownership. Obviously, Miguel is his son, but I'd say that's a very dicey situation for Carmen, and she knows it. And that was probably one of the worst fears, was that Miguel went to find him, because that's opening Pandora's box. That's very interesting. So many great comments, guys. Thank you so much. Ferris says, I just want to be shown one more time so you can tell me, who do you think will win, season 5 Hawk or season 5 Robbie? I think it's Hawk. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. Hawk's excellent. He did get taken down by the silver bullet. So I guess the question is, would Robbie have gotten taken down by the silver bullet? Probably, if he wasn't expecting it. I don't know. That's a really good question. They're very kind of even. Fascinating question. I don't know. Maybe a video. I know Strife the Warrior is really good at these as well. I'll have to ask Strife. Josh, do you think Kenny can or will bring down Terry to the light? Terry had fantastic behavior with Kenny. Well, you know, I think from Terry's perspective, he didn't do anything wrong. I think from Terry's perspective, he was wronged, and that he tried to help Kenny, and that I don't know. It'd be tough, I think, for Kenny to. I think Kenny would have to really state his case as to why Terry wronged him, because Kenny benefited from Terry quite a bit, and I don't know. It's interesting because I don't think Terry would ever view himself as needing to change or seeing the light. I think he thinks he's in the right and he's doing the right thing. He's got the big picture in mind, and all this small stuff is just getting in the way. So I think he would try to convert Kenny again and make Kenny realize why he did what he did. And that's another thing I loved about the second season episode. When Terry was basically explaining to Tori, you could say he was gaslighting her, but I think that's Terry's thing. It's like survival justifies quite a lot. If you need to do this to survive, then that's what has to be done. And I think that's what Terry, he's in survival mode, at least for his legacy. Not saying he's terminally ill, but at least for his legacy, I think, he's in survival mode. He knows this has to happen. If he wants it to happen, it has to happen now. There can't be any mistakes. And I think he would try to impress that upon Kenny, that all this other stuff was just distraction. You have to focus on the big picture and look at what Terry did for Kenny and making him so powerful. So I think it would maybe go the other way. And Kate says, remember to hit the like button. Yes, guys, I will say this, be sure to subscribe. If you enjoy this video or my videos, be sure to subscribe. We're trying to reach 25,000 subscribers. That's our goal right now. And thank you for everyone who subscribed and hit the notification bell. And then remember to even liking the video. That's great, because every time you do that, it helps more people see the video, helps the algorithm, the YouTube algorithm. So I really appreciate all your support, just even by hitting that like button and by hitting subscribe. So thank you, Kate. Great reminder. And if you want to help support more, you can become a member like Kate. Marianella. Oh, Kenny. Yes, indeed. Wonderful comments, guys. I'm trying to think. Johnny naming the baby Tommy. Yeah, I could see that happening. Christian Crow, wonderful to see you, Christian. I bet Miguel's father will be there at the World Tournament. We haven't seen the last of Hector. He will find out Miguel is his son. There's way too much good drama there to let sleeping dogs lie. I agree. I thought so even from before season 5 that was going to be an eventuality. You're kind of opening the Pandora's box by Miguel going to find his father, because his father, if he's a bad dude, isn't just going to let Miguel go. That's his son. So, and he doesn't have any other biological kids. So I don't think he's going to let that go. They were very careful, I think, in how they set that up. Let's see. And Bryce Productions, do you think Hector will turn? Maybe. I do. I think he will. If they choose to, if they have enough time, if they have like a season 6 and 7, if they have enough time for the story, I think he absolutely will return. Wonderful character. I love the character. And it was I was sad that he went away by episode 2 in a way. And so I hope he comes back. Sid Lawrence Diaz would be a great name for a baby. It could be, Josh. I think Johnny would need to change his attitude towards Sid quite a bit for that to happen. People have suggested maybe he left Johnny the huge inheritance. So maybe that will cause a change in attitude. I am not sure. Jennifer says, speaking of Johnny, I think there may be a good friendship building with Mike. Their banter will be one for the ages. I like it. Yes, it was awesome. Johnny took out the sensei, but Mike was knocked out. I know. I was so frustrated when I saw that. I was like, no, we can't have Mike Barnes being knocked out. I just loved how he turned to Silver and he's like, you're next. And he was just knocked out. It was like, that was a true flash of the classic Mike Barnes. So hopefully we'll get to see more in the future. Fire said, who do you think will win the world championship? Please answer. Well, I'm going to say this, knowing this Cobra Kai series, I think a lot of things will happen between now and then. And who will be fighting in a championship might change. The teams might change. The people involved might change. So I can say I don't know, because I think that's what's going to happen. We're going to see something change. It's not going to be the way we think right now. And as I said, people involved, the dojos involved have problems. They have legal problems. So we don't know who's even going to be in a world tournament going forward. Nerd World, Andrew Garfield being a fan of the series, but maybe expensive for a cameo. The thing is, though, Andrew Garfield, could be wrong, but you have all these like super famous actors, people who love the show. If they're going to appear as a cameo in the show, they're not going to. I mean, they'll do it at scale. Like they're not going to charge an exorbitant amount of money if it's just a cameo. Like maybe if it's a bigger role, But I think for anyone who wants to appear in Cobra Kai, they're not going to do it for their full fee. They're going to do it because they love the show. That's my guess. Let's see. Ken Cole, don't forget about that deadly scroll. Right. That's true. And we don't know what else. There might be stuff in addition to that scroll we don't know about. I think that's what's so fascinating about the series is there's all this lore that you can tap into, and you could introduce more and more. So maybe Chosen has knowledge of something else in Miyagi-Do's past as well. In the lore of the fighting style. God of Serpent says Hector will return in season 6 has been foreshadowed because Miguel, right, left his backpack. Cobra Kai, have the address and full name, right. Yeah, and people have brought that up. I think that's a great point. He could absolutely come back. I think he will. I think as long as there's enough time in the story, like if they only get season 6, it's possible that there might be too much to cover for him to come back. But I think if they get to do what they want, I would think they would want to bring Hector back into the show. Absolutely. Yeah, maybe Julie Pierce is a scroll from her technique. Right. And that's the thing. We don't know what happened after the next Karate Kid. Obviously, Miyagi moved back to Southern California, but it's possible that he kept up with her. He saw her, or maybe she came out to see him and she kept training with him. Maybe for many, many years. And so we don't know what he passed on to her. And we don't know how much interaction she and Daniel have had too. That's why I think Julie Pierce would be wonderful to have back. So obviously you can see there's a lot that can happen moving forward with season 6, 7, 8. I don't know. Let's see. Christian says, I wrote on Twitter a while back that we haven't seen the last of Hector. Swear to God, 5 minutes later, the actor himself subbed to my Twitter. And yes, it was his official account. Hint. Wonderful. Oh, Christian, nice move. Yeah, I think at this point, and this is just my sense, is that they haven't written season 6 yet. They don't have a green light yet. We don't know. And so I think maybe the actors are either hopeful or they know about maybe the future intentions of the character. So we don't have anything confirmed, but I think that's an amazing indication that he's at least willing to come back and that maybe he enjoyed his involvement in the show. So, and he did a phenomenal job as well. Marianella says, maybe Carmen will have to ask Hector for a divorce now that she's engaged to Johnny. Right. And that's going to complicate things. Or do you even have to honor a marriage in Ecuador? Or Hector might feel like she needs to honor the marriage to him, or I don't know. Someone said we need to get Badway in on this, and I agree. We need his expert legal advice, 100%. Zaround says the 2010 remake and the next Karate Kid never got sequels, but the original got 2. Odd. Well, that's a good point. I think, obviously they did better. I think they talked about doing a sequel to the 2010 remake, but it just never happened. Now we're getting this new Karate Kid movie. It's mysterious. We don't quite know what it's about, other than it's a return to the original Karate Kid story, but it doesn't seem to involve anyone from the Cobra Kai series. So it's kind of a puzzle right now. We'll see what that is. But I don't know. Let me know too, guys. We obviously, on KenCast, we typically have like lots of great guests. We talk about all different types of topics. If there's something you like to see talked about, let me know either in the chat or in the comments below. If you're watching on replay, we can do a whole episode on the 2010 remake. If that's something that interests you, we could do a whole episode on the next Karate Kid. We really haven't covered the next Karate Kid that closely. I know it's kind of divisive in the fandom, but we know that it's canon. We know that the creators of the Cobra Kai series consider the next Karate Kid to be canon, and that those characters exist all the way from Julie Pierce to Colonel Dugan to Ned. So I don't know. We could see all those characters again. But anyway, guys, I want to thank you for watching. It's been commented to me multiple times that the people who are watching and the people in the comments of these KenCasts are some of the best commenters on any of the communities on YouTube and on the internet. I've heard that from multiple people now, and I think they're right. And I just want to thank all of you for not only watching, but actually writing amazing comments and having such great positive discussion about this thing we're having fun with, this wonderful series, Cobra Kai, this wonderful movie series. And I appreciate each and every one of you watching and contributing to the conversation. And even today, helping to make KenCast just a fun place to have a conversation. So thank you so much. And I think today, wow, we've been going a while. I think I might close it down for today, and we'll hopefully have some great KenCasts coming up. But subscribe. Go ahead. If you're watching, go ahead and subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and hit the notification bell and hit like too. But that notification bell will tell you whenever we have new KenCasts coming out, new videos. You know, I'm going to be having, some more videos coming out, maybe about Terry Silver and a lot of other different things too. So be sure to hit subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything. And thank you so much for everything. Kim, thanks for joining us today. Always fun, fancy, faithful to Cobra Kai, always until the wheels fall off. I completely agree. Jennifer, thank you for joining today for the first time. Really appreciate it. Lupo Music, thank you so much for joining. Wonderful. And Bryce has a request. Do an episode on the next Karate Kid and the Karate Kid 2010. It's probably a long past time to do that because we've talked about the Karate Kid 3. We've talked about Karate Kid 2. I don't think we've done an official one on Karate Kid 1 yet, but I think you're right. I think we need to do one on Next Karate Kid, and I think we need to do one on the remake. And I think that would be a ton of fun. So I'll see if I can hook that up for you. That's a great recommendation. Kate Maloney, thank you so much for being a member, Kate. And now you're I think the most senior member of the channel. I want to thank you so much, guys. If you become a member, you get access to emojis, but you get those belts like you see Kate she's wearing virtually right now next to her name. It's only a couple dollars to join, less than the price of Starbucks. If you guys are able to and want to support the channel by being a member, thank you so much. There are different membership levels. Get early access. I try to do some special videos just for certain levels of members. But you get, you think it's just the support of the channel is wonderful. Even things like the streaming software costs money, and it tends to be software and equipment. And I thank you. The members have allowed me to get a couple things, that contributed money towards simple things like stabilization for if I'm doing a stream on the go, like the stabilizer for that. So I really thank you for everyone who's contributed either by super chat or being a member. So thank you, Kate. I really appreciate that. Josh, thanks for this amazing moment. Thank you, guys. This is always a highlight to jump on here and talk to you. Thank you so much. And keep subscribed and keep that notification bell active because we'll have some more live streams coming up, and I'll even be streaming while I'm traveling. So definitely keep it here. And if there's something beyond Cobra Kai and Karate Kid that you want to talk about, let me know. Because I'll probably be mixing in some more content, even about other things, maybe other 80s properties, other 90s properties, movies, TV shows, that type of thing. So let me know what you think. And I look forward to seeing you all next time on KenCast. And thank you for joining. It's wonderful to hear from you all. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Have a good rest of your Sunday.